Right. So if you've worked in digital marketing, chances are you've probably seen these intent types before. So you've got navigational intent, and that's people who know exactly what they're looking for and are just using search engines as a shortcut to get there. So in most cases this is brand searches. And then you've got informational intent, so this is people who are looking for an answer to a question. And then you've got transactional intent, and this is people who are ready to spend money and are looking for places to spend that money. And if you go to any keyword research tool, it'll have these intent models built in. So if you look in the middle column, you'll see I's and T's, which refer to information and transaction. And then you can assign page types to those. So traditionally, navigation is associated with the home page, information is associated with the blog, and transaction is associated with products and categories. And many people who work in digital marketing will tell you all about this conversion funnel. So so you got the awareness, the interest, and then the decision at the bottom. And many will tell you that that you need to go through all these different stages in order to make a sale. And then you can also assign page types to these. So you can use your blog for brand awareness. You can use your categories for people who are interested and a little bit further down. And then you can use your homepage, your products for people who are ready to spend. Now, unfortunately, this is all bollocks. And the reason why is because it's just a really simplistic model, and it doesn't work in the real world. The fact is, we're not all robots, we don't all behave the same, we don't all shop the same, and not all products are the same. So someone who is buying a piece of lipstick isn't going to go through the same buying journey as someone who's buying a car. So we need to think about things a bit more granularly. And yes, so I've got a lovely little professionally made diagram here that shows that the journey, it just isn't linear. So people will often go between these different stages when they're buying, and the more expensive the item or the more considered the item is, the more random the buying journey can appear to be. Here's one that I stole off the internet. And it shows that there are external factors that feed into this traditional funnel as well. So you've got people giving you recommendations is going to feed into that. You've got targeted ads. You've got your competitors leeching your customers. You've got poor UX. You've got people changing their mind and then going back up this funnel. So there's a lot more to consider. But you've also got the problem where if these pages are treated as silos, they're not joined up well, so you're not going to flow that user journey, and you're going to miss opportunities for when people are on one type of page but are wanting to get information of a different type. But also the way people use the internet is changing as well. So many people, instead of using a website to find all this information, they'll find out about a product through TikTok. They'll research that product on Reddit, and only once they've done their research, they might then search for it online. So, and this is just one model. There's all sorts of different ways that people can discover what they're looking for. So the question is, what actually is intent, or search intent, or user intent, whatever you want to call it? So I've got my own definition, and other people might disagree, but I'm right. And my one is to satisfy the goal of the individual searcher at that moment. And the keyword there is individual. So you might have 100 people searching for the same keyword in Google, but they might all have a slightly different intention when they're making that search. Now, Google have an internal goal that not many people know about, and it's called time to result. So what they want to do is that when people begin their buying journey, they want to get them to the end of that journey as quick as possible. And if your website is well set up for that, then they might treat you more favourably. So let's talk about some of the common myths they might hear about user intent. And these are all ones that have been told to me by people who get paid more than me in this industry. And myth one is that navigational searches are just the homepage, adjust to the homepage. So if you want to go on the next site, you just type in next, click go, and then there you go. But there's a lot more to it. So here's an example of a local e-commerce site. And if you search for "look fantastic" in Google, you'll get a series of autocomplete queries. Now these are searches that real people are making when you search for their brand. And I've highlighted some examples there of discount codes. So there's a lot of people who, when they're searching for the brand, are actually looking for a discount, not for the homepage. However, when you search for that term, vouchercodes.co.uk is the #1 ranking page. So what's actually happening is that someone will be on this website, they'll add some lipstick to their checkout, to the basket, they'll go to the checkout, they'll see a nice box that says, do you have a discount code? And you go, Then you leave the site, Google, look fantastic, discount codes, go on vouchercodes.co.uk, click the code, get taken back to the site and finish your purchase. So this person who had already decided that they were going to buy this piece of makeup are now losing a 20% discount on that price. But they're also paying vouchercodes.co.uk commission for the privilege. Whereas what they could own that space with their own landing page, they're saying, well, these are the actual discount codes, which admittedly they do have, but it's towards the bottom of page one, so it's not very well optimized, and it could be improved. Another example is for brand reputation management. So many of you will have heard of Avon, and many of you will think of it as it's just blatantly a pyramid scheme. So when people are searching for this brand, these are the queries that people associate with that brand. And again, if you search for that, Reddit is #1, and it is a pyramid scheme. Now this one isn't that bad because the answers are actually saying no, it's not. But they don't have any control over what this result says. So if the Reddit result changes, then it could look very bad for the brand. Whereas what they could do is have their own landing page that says, well, this is what people think, but this is the truth. And I mean, even if they are actually a pyramid scheme, they could address that head on. So myth 2 is that categories are just a way to navigate to your products. So it makes sense. You go onto a category page or a PLP or wherever you want to call it, and you get a list of products, and you go, all right, I fancy that one. You click through to it, and then you find out more information about the product, and then buy. So here's an example of a page full of mountain bikes. Now, I know nothing about cycling. However, I do live 10 minutes away from work, so it would make sense to me to buy a bike. But if I was to go on this page, there's nothing on this page that tells me anything about the bikes. I would not have a clue what the difference between any of them is. And I've got better things to do with my time than to individually click on every product, find out about the product, read about it, research it, go, it's not for me, then go back. So I would probably leave this page. It doesn't interest me. But you could have things like the frame material, you could have handlebar style, you could have wheel size, you could even have riding level. So is it aimed at people who are not very confident cyclists, or is it people who are do it as a hobby? And having that level of detail can help people with that buying journey. So here's an example of a tool hire website. And they do exactly this. So they, for every product, they have a small list of bullet points about that product. And now I know what the difference between every product is, just by glancing at the page. Now, here's a graph of their visibilities from a tool we use called Systrix. And can you tell when this particular change was made on his website to include this extra level of detail? It was made here. Now, of course, there's an argument of correlation and causation, but for me, that's quite encouraging. It's quite positive. Myth 3 is that product pages are only for converting. So I've had arguments in the past where I've wanted to have relevant blog articles injected into product pages, so that if someone is researching the product, that they can find out a bit more information about it without having to clog up the page. And the reason I get told time and time again is we don't want people to click away from the product page because that's where the call to action is, that's how you add it to a basket, and we can lose conversions. But there's no data to back this up. There's no actual, it's completely unproven. Here's an example of a product on a popular American skincare website. And this website was absolutely dominating search results in the USA. And you scroll down the page, and sure enough, there's a list of blog articles relevant to the product that allows you to do exactly what I've just described. And they were doing really well using this tactic. But what you also have to consider is that people can be at different stages of the buying journey when they get to the product page. So if you're ready to buy, you'll see these links. You'll just ignore them. They're of no interest to you. If you're not ready to buy, you're probably going to ignore the add to basket button because you're not ready to buy yet, and you're looking to get that extra piece of information. Another way that you can use product pages is injecting videos. So here's an example of a tent. Now, I'm thinking about if I'm going camping to the Welsh coast and I've got a lovely Welsh summer of wind and rain and a couple of screaming kids, the last thing I want to be thinking about is this tent going to be difficult to assemble? But you stick a video on your product page that just you can embed it within your product images. There's just a video of someone assembling the tent and saying this is how easy it is, and that extra level of detail can be the difference between making a purchase and going somewhere else. So here's not an exhaustive list of some of the ways that people use product pages on your website. So you can have like what are the ingredients, you can look at some of the reviews, how to use it, are there any allergens, are there any similar products, and then just on the right there you got a little circle for purchase. So if you treat your product pages just as just as a place where you can click add to cart, you're missing all of this opportunity. And myth 4 is content for content's sake. Now, as an SEO, I'm probably guilty of this, but if you go on, like every day I see people giving advice on how to write content that ranks in search engines, and the one I see time and time again is aim for a word count of X. Try and write 1,000 words, try and write 2,000 words. I've seen people say try and write 6,000 words before. It's just nonsense. So I'm sure you've all seen recipe sites which are particularly guilty of this. And here's an example of it's supposed to be a recipe for lasagna, and of course you got the life story before you get to the actual recipe. One of the subheadings on this particular page is it lasagna or lasagna? I don't care. Just show me the ingredients so I can start cooking. So the rule I would have is every piece of content on your page or on your site must have a purpose. If you can't say, right, this is the goal of this content and this is how it feeds into how it helps the customer, then get rid of it. Now, on top of that, Google in the last few years have been focusing on the helpful content updates. So the idea of this is that they promote sites where the content is actually designed to help people, and they demote sites that have content that's just there to target search engines with a block of text that has a few keywords dotted in here and there that has absolutely no value. That tactic is outdated and it doesn't work anymore. So let's look at some tips and tricks. So the first piece of advice I would say is to talk to your customers. Now it can be very easy to get lost in spreadsheets and graphs and search volumes and bounce rates, and it's really easy to forget that behind every single search that leads someone to your website is a human being that's looking to solve a problem. And once you start getting into the mindset of like how's your content trying to help this person, that's when you can start making a website that helps them. Now, there's a few ways they can do this. I was cut half the that's a shame. But anyway, so there's like one thing you can do is you can talk to your customer service teams, and you can ask like what are the common questions that people are asking about your products. Or you can send out surveys. You can even incentivize those surveys. Say if you answer this, we'll give you a voucher. Or tools like Hotjar allow you to inject surveys directly into a website. Or there's a tool called What Users Do, where you actually pay people to go on your website and leave commentary as they try and achieve certain tasks. Next, you can build a persona, and this is basically a profile of your typical customer. So it's like who they are, what they're looking to achieve, what the common challenges that they face in life, basically. And depending on your brand, you can have a few of these. I remember recently I was talking to the head of marketing at one of the UK's biggest e-commerce retailers, and I asked, do you use personas? And his reply was, I can tell you what street they live on. So once you build out these personas and you can read about who these people are, even if they're not real people, you can start to empathise with them. And then when you're building out your website, you can think, how is this helping this person that I've created? You can also use Google Search Console, and one trick that they can do in Google Search Console is you can put a filter in for your brand name, or it could be a product name, and then once you do that, you can have a look at what the queries are. I use next before as an example. You put next in, and then you can see what are the queries that are relating to that brand. Or and you can do the same for a product as well, so you can see how people are searching for a particular product. And you can do this for URLs as well. So you can put a product URL in and see what the queries that people are searching for that URL appears for. And then there's also autocomplete. So when you start to make a search in Google, it will give you a list of queries based on what people are actually asking, and then if you do that for enough products, you can have a look at like what are the common trends that keep coming up time and time again. And there's tools like Answer the Public, which will take all of this data and collate it into a nice fancy graphic, and then Answer Socrates is an alternative to this. And this is completely free to use. Anyone can use that, and it'll give you hundreds of content ideas for keyword. And there's also, people also ask, so when you search for a product in Google, you'll get a pack of 4 questions, and again, these questions that people are asking. Now, quick disclaimer, what you do not do is take these questions and then add a subheading for each question, and then just type out an answer for each one. That's lazy, and people will see through it. the best way to go about it. But what you can do is that you can search for a lot of products. So say if you've got a trainers category, you search for all of your trainers, and you can see what the questions that keep coming up time and time again. So I did this for makeup, for skincare products. So I put 400 searches through, and I had to look at what the common trends were, and found that the first one is how do you use it. The second one is what actually is it. I think I think one example was Elemis Marine Cream. Some of the ladies might know exactly what it is. The men probably won't. So if you see if it's on your Valentine's list, you go. Now there's a tool that can help called autoasked.com, and what you can do with this is that you can this will scrape the people also ask questions, but it will also put those questions back in to the Google, and you get people also ask questions for those as well. So what you can you've got a relatively small list of products in there, and get a massive list of questions come out. And then what you can do, you can export via CSV, go to ChatGPT, upload that CSV, and then go, here's a list of products, here's a list of questions that people are asking about those products, what are the common trends that I need to be writing about in my product descriptions. And it will tell you if you ask it to be concise, it will it'll help you have a format that you can apply across your whole website. And lastly, you can also use AI to analyse your competitors. So if you take the content of a web page and then go to a ChatGPT, and you say, imagine you've clicked on a web page from a Google search result, analyse the following text from the web page and answer the following with concise bullet points. What's the purpose of the page? Who's the target audience? Tone of voice and technical level. Now, I did this for the #1 ranking page for car insurance, and what I got was quite good. And what you can then do is do the same with content that's on your own competing page and see how that compares. Now, I'm not advocating that you just copy your competitors, but you can have a look at this and just see, does the intent of the page match what what Google clearly likes? Yeah, and that's it. So.